Okay, we're recording. This is the March session of the Elevate Mastermind. We're going to be sharing our vision boards. Bonnie and I have ours done. Wendy and Caroline, we miss you on this call. So if you're watching this in the future, we would love for you to share your vision boards if you finish them, like in the Facebook group. Or however else you want to share, but that would be the best way. We're going to just do some catch up on life and then sort of dive into March's topic, which is friendship. So Bonnie, do you want to start? You want to share
Sure.
your vision board? And you could, and then you can, I'll do mine, and then we can sort of talk about like how life is going and like our goals and stuff like that.
Okay, so this is my vision board. Front and center is this thing that says, it's this thing, and it says, paying close attention to your every intention, bringing the intention home. So that's sort of an overarching theme with my goals for this year, is to just be more intentional about how I spend my life,
I
basically.
love that.
And I think I somewhat stole that from Wendy during our retreat. She said something like that, and I said, yeah, that's exactly what I want to do. I'm not organized as Annie's is, but I have a lot of
Okay.
nature on here because one of my things I would like to do more regularly is to be outside. I think I mentioned being outside as much as possible, going on walks. Here's some pretty stuff. That's what this is. It says, go get out, go walk. Here's a moose. I love moose. I'd like to see one of those in the Boundary Waters this year. I have this basketball thing because I started playing basketball again, and I'm really enjoying it. And
That's so awesome. And I think you shared this, but is it an all women's team or is it co-ed?
It's co-ed.
And is it like a straggler team of like people who were free agents and
Yeah.
then you became the leader?
I'm not the leader, but somebody else like sent an email out to all of the free agents, and yeah,
Awesome.
so we're a little rando team, and it's awesome. I look everybody on the team, and we all have really significant basketball experience. So we don't win a ton of games, but we have fun playing together and understand each other, are kind of on the same wavelength for the most part.
That's awesome.
And it's a really good hour of exercise that so far I've needed a day to recover from, but that's less than I did when I first started. So yeah, so that I'd like to keep doing things that make me feel good like that. I do play in softball in the summer, and it's just always been fun. So I guess I guess I should just embrace my inner jock, because it's making me happy.
Yes.
This is a little massage over here.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, more massages this year. My strength training routine is over here. I want to keep that up. And I like how I feel. I want to I go through stretches where I have like times of the day I do it, and then times when I just do it when I can. And I'd like to get back to doing it in the mornings kind of more regularly. So that's one thing. Here's an eagle. I like bald eagles. Confident reading. I'd like to read more and watch a little less television. That's one thing I'd like to do. I love reading. I'd like to do more reading not in my bed, because I tend to just fall asleep when I'm reading in my bed.
You have a good outside place, like if you got up in the morning when it's a little warmer.
I do have one on our porch, but it doesn't really translate well to the winter.
Yeah.
So yes, that's a good spot that I'll do. I do reading there. Let's see here. Let's see. Here's some cabin. I'd like to do a trip with my husband. We've postponed our 10th year anniversary trip. I'd like to at least plan that, if not go on that. This year. Uncover your best self. I think I shared that I want to sort of have another career potentially and try to figure out what that is and how to be my best self, I guess. This picture of camping is right front and center because that I try to do a lot of that in the summer and the fall, especially. It makes me happy and sort of just resets me. Gardening. This garden was like garden inspo.
Oh yeah.
I'm starting to have gardener brain again, which kind of disappears in the winter, but I'm starting to think about bulbs in spring and stuff. And I want to elevate my garden this
That
year
is
even
so
more.
great.
There's another butterfly. Dahlias are one of my favorites. Let's see here. Stretcher, like lady stretching, because as you all know, I'm doing more stretching and I want that to become a thing that I do regularly, daily, maybe.
Oh, good.
I want to play with my boys more and just generally play more. Let's see, what am I missing? This lady, I just liked her vibe and I want that vibe for 2023.
What do you think? So I'm copying Laverne Cox from the red carpet last night. What story are you telling with this?
Story with this
Yeah, like
look,
what
I
is
think
the vibe?
she's in control, she's confident, she knows which directions she's pointing, and she's wearing fabulous clothes. Mostly the confidence and the just knowing where you are and just feeling like you know what where you're going next and stuff.
She looks also very calm and like unhurried, unfrazzled.
Yes, that's right. Yes. So that's my arm's getting tired. Let's see here.
You need an easel.
I know, right? Canoe is up by my camper because
Nice.
I'm the Boundary Waters are my happy place. Let's see here. What else do I have? Paints, because I want to fix up my house. I have some house things. So, this is my finances. I do have some organization.
Yes.
This is my saving enough, and then this is like a paved path, a path paved with bills, dollar bills or whatever. And it says balancing budget, and then so it can buy a cabin someday.
Nice.
Or somewhere on the lake.
Love that.
I think I got most of it.
Talk about the community comeback by your left hand.
Oh yeah. So I wanted to strengthen my community ties, both like personal and, further out than that. So that's what that's all about. And I think I had some others about that kind of address that too, but anyway. So, sisterhood is blooming. So that's sort of along the same lines. Both of my sisters and my sisters from a different mister. So, that's what friends. Yeah. So the themes are just kind of like strengthening ties and figuring out path forward, staying healthy.
I see a lot of theme of joy and
yes,
play and like just reconnecting with joy and play.
Totally. Yes. I would like to do that.
Amazing. And have you decided on your word for the year yet? Or does one pop out when you kind of look at actually joy is like right in the middle of it's like dead center in the middle of you.
Right here. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder what gave you that impression then.
Yeah. I was thinking about the gardening and the basketball and the camping and stuff.
There's ice cream in here too. Ice cream.
Joy.
I want to try some new ice cream stores. Okay, so anyway, that's mine. I think in terms of I forgot about that, about figuring out a word. I think maybe like, I don't know. I have to think about it.
Okay, think about it. And then let us know when you decide. Where are you gonna hang up your vision board so you can see it all the time?
Currently, I have it in my office. Like, I haven't hung it up yet because I don't have a ton of wall space, but I have it sort of propped up in front of my husband's books over here, Bob's book. So So I see it when I walk in, when I leave my office, and I don't
Awesome.
know if I have a spot in here to put it. Maybe I don't really. So maybe I could find another spot, but I think like just propped up and, or maybe right there. I could probably put it right there.
Yeah, I love it. Cool. That was awesome. Okay, I have mine, which I also haven't hung up yet, but I've been sort of waiting until today, and I think I'm gonna hang it up down here since I have my own office in our house. Because it's been sitting in the living room since the day that I came home from our retreat.
Right.
Okay. So here's the whole thing. It is kind of hard to see what I am showing you guys. Let me see if I can change my view. That's better. Okay. So my word for the year, which I picked like well in advance because I do this every year, is dolce vita. I really want this year to be just simple and enjoying little moments, like little things, pleasure, joy. 2022 was a rocky one for us, and I'm not really don't really have like giant ambition. I just want to like enjoy everything that we have. So the top, it says 2023, begin again. Is that backwards for you guys, for you?
Oh.
Okay, it's backwards when I look at it, but that's good. And then this is happier days ahead, because like as you guys know, like Fred's really been struggling with mental health stuff, and it's been like a whole year. It was a rough year. But he's getting better, and I think it's on the upward trajectory. So in this top corner is sort of about redefining fitness and my health goals and sort of my business too. Want to be like a healthy, energized, energetic, fun mom who's like bringing her kids along for the ride. I love this mom who's doing like planks with her little girl, and here she's like nose to nose with her little cutie while she's doing some kind of crazy arm balance, which I used to be able to do when I was like 30. And it says like find your strong and real fitness, and I love those. And then like playing in the water and just being like a fun, happy mom, since I am an old mom, but I don't feel old, but some days I do feel a little creaky. This is another one of my fitness goals, the deadlift. My weight, I know Bonnie like sent me a congratulations message. I hit 200, which was felt like a big milestone. I wish that was my weight, but right now my weight is about in the 220s because I'm still losing baby weight from when I was pregnant. But I decided I'm just giving it a number goal of like 225 or 250 if I hit 225 pretty soon.
Can I ask what made you choose deadlift out of all the lifts?
Deadlift is just like the badass this lift.
Do you think so? Why?
It is like a full body. It's a full body lift. Your arm, your back, your core, your legs.
Yeah.
I had a goal to deadlift 300 before when I was training with a personal trainer, and I didn't make it. And quite frankly, I just saw this and I liked it. And I was like, maybe that should be a goal, because before that, my only goal was to get in good enough shape to run a 10K. So I just sort of like this. And I was like, I kind of want to have like a strength goal. And another reason is because I'm sick of having weight loss goals. I want to have performance goals. So it's a lot more fun to like have a goal to like train and get big and strong than it is to like, the scale didn't move today. Just like super over that, even though I still like want to lose weight and I'm focusing on it. I'm more excited about training and becoming fit. And I think that's a nice break that most women would enjoy.
Well, I only ask because deadlift, it's never been my favorite. And but it has this reputation of being like the kind of most badass one. I was just curious.
Yeah. And the other thing is, I mean, this isn't why I picked it. Quite frankly, because I saw this picture and I was like, oh, that would be a good goal.
Yeah, it's awesome.
But it's like the only kind of heavy lift that you don't really need a spotter, because there's no way to spot it. Like either you get it up or you don't. And if you can't get it, you just drop the weight. Whereas like I've been in the gym recently and I was like, oh, I wish I had a spotter on this squat,
Mhm.
but I didn't. So I don't know. That's it.
Makes sense.
And then I love this picture of like female friendship of like fit, healthy women. I decided to name what I'm going to make one new program this summer. That's going to be a strength training program with like a community feel and like accountability and it's going to be called Strong Squad because it's going to be focusing on getting strong and fit rather than losing weight. So that's my Strong Squad program. This is just my little self-care corner because, you know, up and now that I'm 41, about to be 42, like self-care, taking rest is super important. This is my little romance section with like a date nights in, exciting date nights out, practicing empathy, becoming a better wife, and just like experiencing life together. I can't read what it says. Oh, it says this moment, like that Dolce Vita, just like, oh, we're in the kitchen cooking together. And like, that's can be really fun and romantic. And then over here, this is like my money area. And I love there's the healthy way of life calendar and good habits. So really focusing and being intentional about budgeting our finances and planning meals and healthy stuff as well. And then my 3 favorite seasons, summer, fall, and holiday. Skip right over spring. I like just hate spring. I'm just like ready for summer right away.
You don't really have spring. It's like,
I know. I'm just always cold and like wet and sick of my winter clothes. And then
totally,
try to wear cute spring clothes and then you're cold and it's like a whole cycle.
totally. Right.
But yeah, so these are my summers and make time for playtime and just like this little girl playing like in the wild. As Freddie and Vivi get older, I want to try to have them play like old-fashioned play and like be like more unstructured and unscheduled and stuff like that. And the North Shore and like there's Fred and me in this little kayak or canoeing in the North Shore. And then holiday, I love this because it's merry, bright, and mostly chill. And I love Christmas and the holidays, but I also just like chill and like stress-free. And then playing outside. I love all these little families playing outside in the snow together.
Nice.
So that's it. Oh, and then in the middle, there's some pictures that vaguely look like our house if we had a maid and a interior decorator. So I just put those on there. We keep working on fixing up our house. So that's fine.
Are you on a buy nothing group?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes those are helpful for like getting secondhand things for the house. Yeah.
I got in it as soon as we moved here. I knew that. And I look on Facebook Marketplace a lot too.
Nice.
Yeah, so I think I'm gonna hang that up probably right here, right in front of my computer so that I can see it all day, every day. Okay, so thanks for sharing that. The last time when we talked about Atomic Habits on our book discussion, we sort of talked about going back and setting, like basically deciding which area we wanted to really focus on for the rest of this quarter and maybe second quarter because we're kind of halfway through it. And then setting a goal around that and like building up some habits. So I wanted to check in about that and see how that's going. And if that's not going, that's okay. But maybe just check in about how everything's going, kind of the stuff we talked about in the retreat and like update us on everything.
Okay, I can go first.
Okay. I'll go second.
The habits Excel sheet is on my to-do list and I'm going to do it this week. I just haven't done it.
It's the time.
What?
I feel you. I actually like made that whole spreadsheet. I was so excited about it and I haven't made time to do it yet.
Yeah.
So
but I'm interested in doing it. And I think we have a pretty chill weekend coming up, knock on wood. So, anyway, so I plan to examine my habits. I mean, I feel like I've been doing that kind of since the retreat anyway, because we kind of like about a lot of that stuff. So yeah, I don't have anything to report on that, but I will soon.
Do you have a, that's okay. That's okay. There's no guilt involved in this mastermind. It's only like moving forward. Do you have a feeling of like what area you want to focus on as like a top priority?
What were the options again?
Health, wealth, relationships, impact, our mindset.
I think relationships and mindset, probably,
Mhm.
but also, but wealth, but not wealth, but like career stuff. So like
Mhm.
those are sort of the things I'm thinking about. I feel like I've got lots of good health habits in place, and and I feel like those are in some ways easier for me to focus on because
Mhm.
I don't know why. Annie, you and I are basically the same person, so you
Yeah,
probably know what I'm talking about.
I know
It's
exactly
like
what you're talking
rewarding for me
about.
to like work out, and like if I like that stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm already like, whereas the other stuff I could focus on better, more
Mm.
mindset, relationships.
It's
uh,
also a lot more common to have health goals, and talk about that, or even financial goals, as much as women don't talk about finances as much as we should, and we in this group are going to. Plus, those categories are really easy to quantify. How many times did you go to the gym? How many
right.
pounds do you want to lose? How much water did you drink today? Like those are super easy to track and quantify, and it's much harder. First of all, it's much more, I mean, have you dug into the friendship book yet?
No, it should be getting here. I had a hard time getting it through the library, and then
Yeah.
I ordered a used copy through an independent bookseller online, and it hasn't come yet.
Okay. Hopefully, I mean, it'll come soon, but
It'll
when
be here soon.
that she talks about, did you get platonic or friendships don't just happen?
I'm getting the second one. The friendships don't just happen.
Friendship-
Which one are you
Okay.
reading? You reading both of them?
I'm doing both, but I read like half of platonic before, and then I had to return it to the library. So now I just bought it, and I'm reading Friendships Don't Just Happen. But both of them talk about how, one reason friendships don't just happen is because it's weird to talk about it as a goal, and there's some measure of shame around saying, like, remember when you and I went for this walk, and at the
Yeah.
end of the walk, you said, do you have any friends? And I said, no, I don't. I don't have any friends. But there's like a shame around that. Like it's because I'm unlovable, or because I'm weird, or because people don't like me. And the books are really fast read, like a lot of personal development, like it's a fast read, but if you like stop and do the work, that's what takes a while. Um, but she does a lot to like sort of debunk that idea that you don't have friends because nobody likes you, or because you're unlovable, or whatever. um it's because we're busy, and we're in a really disconnected society, and you do have to work to maintain those friendships, and they're always changing, so you also have to work to make new ones, which you
Right.
feel like, why should I have to do that? I'm old now, I made my friends.
Right.
And so, before I get too far down that tangent, my point is, it feels weird to make goals around relationships or
Mhm.
mindset because they're hard to quantify.
Right.
And most people aren't going to tell you, like, hey, my goal this year is to really improve my mindset, which would be an amazing goal. But like,
Right.
people just don't talk about it that
Yeah,
way.
it's harder to quantify among other things.
Hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, so I guess off the cuff, those are the ones I would sort of the categories I lean toward, but probably more of a combination of all of them, and just, yeah, I guess mindset is kind of an overarching,
Hmm.
so probably maybe a mindset. Yeah, maybe mindset. So anyway,
Okay. Well, I love it. And I'll be looking forward to hearing an update once you go through that.
Yeah.
I also haven't gone back through and like specifically filled out that habit tracker. Our life's just been in flux so much with Fred being gone and coming back and now starting work. But I know I am planning to focus on, like, within relationships, our relationship, Fred's and mine, which again, that feels really weird to say, like, we've been married 2 years, like we're pretty happy, but this year has been really rough. And it sort of has shown like we could do some work to get more on the same page on certain things. And I think there was a lot of things where we dated for a very short time, we were engaged for a very short time, we got married, and I was pregnant like 2 months after we got married, and then we had a baby, and we were just kind of like swept away in that kind of honeymoon phase where we didn't really, I don't think we really like hashed out, like laying some strong foundations of things we maybe disagreed upon, because we were just like happy and everything was fine.
Right.
So I am making it my goal to prioritize that relationship and put time and money and energy into it. And we started doing couples counseling, which has actually been great.
Nice.
I took the day off Friday and we went to Vivi's school because she was star of the day. And, and she, for her toddler class. So
Estrella.
Estrella del Dia. Yes, she was the Estrella del Dia.
Oh my
And,
gosh.
we went to the gym together and then went out for brunch, which we did every single day on our honeymoon and haven't done once since then. And it was great. And so there's just been, things that have come up where, for example, like opportunity to go to a networking event where normally I would just be like, is my calendar open or not? And I'm like, I'm not going to do that because I'm going to spend time with my husband.
Right.
So it's weird to me because I've always focused on health goals, business goals, career goals, finance goals, and like those are goals you share with people and they're goals that are very easy to quantify. But sort of putting all those things on like a back seat to say I'm gonna prioritize my relationship with this one person. But it feels really good. And also, and when I say it feels really good, it's like I feel like we're on the right trajectory. Like it was a little rocky when he came back and we like got in a couple of fights, but they were more like because we're trying to hash things out
Yeah.
and things are definitely on like a really good trajectory. And we had a great weekend.
Nice.
And yeah, but now we'll see when he starts work. And so kind of to see how that goes. And then I think the second thing is really focusing on also within relationships, the friendships, which, we're going to be focusing on more this month and hopefully going forward and be more intentional about prioritizing. As I read the book, I keep having all these ideas. Like, I have this group of girlfriends from college who we have like a group chat text. And every once in a while we do a phone call. But every time we do a phone call, we always say, let's do this again more frequently, right? But then we don't do it again for like another year or something. Same thing with like our law lunch group, we always do that. And so I want to, what we're going to do in this
Get
group
that
is
back
like
going again.
be really intentional about those different kind of friendships and nurturing them in a way that feels good and authentic and intentional and prioritizing them. So on that note, let's talk about friendship. So what I was thinking we could do tonight is just sort of say like, share your friendship story. Like, what is the story in your head? Like when you asked me, like, do you have any friends? And I was like, no, what is kind of, have you always had a best friend? Were you like in the popular group in high school, or were you like a loner, or, just kind of like share that story and like, where do you feel like you are now in life? And like, what do you think is missing?
So I So I moved a lot when I was really young. It just because of my dad's job, we moved around. So I feel like I didn't have any close friendships through, until mid elementary school or something. We were moving so much. So I only say that because I was thinking about it in the shower like this morning, and I was like, I wonder if that's why I don't have any like super close friends. It's because I like have this history of moving, and like I don't have a hometown to go back to. So those friends are like I still have them. But anyway, so I'm getting ahead of myself. But I was thinking about it in the shower, and I was like, I wonder if
Mhm.
that has anything to do with, now that you say that word, my friendship story. But anyway, elementary and high school, I just kind of like I had a kind of a close group of friends, but there were a lot of barriers to me hanging out with friends outside of school and sports. Like I was being the oldest, I had my parents didn't like let me go out and do anything really. So especially in high school, I feel like um I kind of missed out on some of like the gatherings that might have, that a lot of people were at and that sort of thing. But I had a tight group of friends through high school. I still keep in touch with them. I think I mentioned on Facebook that I had 2 great phone calls with my 2 best friends from Maine this week, and that was so nice.
That's
So
amazing.
they're like those friends that you don't miss a beat. It's like,
Was it like together, like a group, or like one-on-one
So
friends?
my best friend, Erin Finland, what I call Finn, she and I hung out a lot. And then Brad and I hung out a lot, and there was some overlap in groups, but was mostly like hanging out with each of them separately.
Mhm,
And I was kind of like friends with a lot of different groups. I was kind of like
mhm.
the bridge between like, this, like I don't know, the athletes and like the popular kids, and then like in the unpopular kids. So I kind of like had friends in all those groups, but not
Mhm.
nobody like super close besides the 2 I mentioned. So that's my like young kid high school story. And in college, I had kind of a core of friends through basketball.
Yeah, were they your teammates?
Yeah.
Did you guys live together too?
No, we didn't live together. I had another group of girlfriends who were at like lacrosse and kind of other sports who I lived with for a portion of time. So I kind of had sort of the same deal in college, I guess. I had a lot of like somewhat close friends. I wasn't kind of like, I guess I had a best friend on the basketball team,
Mhm.
but so anyway, and then since then, I feel like I had a lot of great friends in law school. I had a lot of fun. I had more fun in law school than I think I did in college. So, um, and I've kept in touch with, a couple of them. Amber and Nadia and you, Annie, hopefully more of you.
Yeah.
But I have like a kind of a core from law school that I still keep in touch with, but I don't see them enough, and I don't, we kind of keep in touch via text message. But Amber lives in Madison, and we see each other a handful of times whenever we can during the year, but it's not enough. And same with Nadia. I mean, she lives in town, but I barely see
Mhm.
her because of schedules and whatever life. So yeah, so I guess I've been blessed with a lot of like somewhat close friends, and not too many like besties, or not people who I like spend an exorbitant amount of time with. My sisters probably filled that spot.
Yeah, you didn't really mention your sisters, but you're so
Dad,
close with your
yeah,
really big family.
yeah. So my sisters are in town, or 2 of them are, I should say. And I hang out with them probably more than anybody outside of
Mhm.
my immediate family, Bob and the boys. So
What do you feel like you need in
I
terms
just,
of friends?
yeah, I mean, I think I was kind of bad at keeping in touch and hanging out before COVID. And then once COVID hit, necessarily it got kind of really bad. And I think sort of resetting and just getting back into networking,
Mhm.
networking, as well as just hanging out with people, doing, just
Mhm.
be, being less lazy about getting out in the world, I guess.
Yeah, it's, there's like certain times in our lives where we naturally make friends, like when we start a new
Yeah.
school, high school, college, law school. And it's so easy and you'll see this as you get into the friendship book and Wendy and Caroline too, because like the recipe for friendship is consistency and vulnerability and slash
Hmm.
intimacy. And like there is nothing more consistent than law school, seeing the same people all day,
Right.
every day, and then studying together. And then,
Right.
late night study sessions where you're like break down,
Right.
get real about certain things. And as you get, and then, working remotely, you sort of even lose that with like coworkers, and especially
Right.
like with you leaving the bigger firm to go on your own, you don't have coworkers necessarily. And I experienced that when I was just doing my own business. I was like, well, this is really lonely. And now I'm also like a new mom during COVID, running my own business. And like the 2 or 3 ladies who ran the daycare at Lifetime Gym became my best friends because I saw them every day.
Yeah.
I talked to them about my
Consistency.
daughter. Yeah,
Consistency.
that consistency is just really huge. So where's my copy of my book? When you get the book, oh, I should unblur my screen. Sorry. When you get the book,
I wonder when it's
that
supposed to get here. I hope soon.
I hope soon too. It's a very fast read. Like I'm on page 60, probably from reading like 2 days.
Uh,
Um, but she has this model that she refers to a lot. And it's sort of um this circle of friendship going from like the least, consistency and the least intimacy to the most. But she talks about why all these different levels are so important and how people kind of can move from one level or they can go back, maybe someone. So it's really interesting, but
hmm,
this is on page, this sort of graphic is on page 32.
cool.
And so as you're reading, all of you, Bonnie, Wendy, Caroline, and I'll put this in the Facebook group too, in case they don't watch this, but really start thinking about who goes into these categories. That's going to be the homework, is like inventorying. That's like step one of the homework, is like inventory all of our friends
Oh boy.
and what circles they go in. And she explains why this is really important, because you're basically like taking stock and be like, oh, this circle of best friends is empty, but this one's like really full because maybe I like casually know so many people, but I don't have anyone that's like a true sweatpants friend that will come over and bring me soup when I'm sick or hang out on the couch. Or maybe you have, 2 best friends, but you don't have any of these people. And what if these people move away, or something happens? And so she really does a good job of explaining like why all of these circles are really important.
Cool.
And so we'll talk about that at our book club. So I want everyone to be kind of prepared to discuss where their friendships fall on this spectrum.
Cool.
Um, yeah, it's really interesting so far. And then after she goes through that sort of model and theory, I think the second 2/3 of the book is more practical tips, like, okay, now what are we going to do to like nurture
Cool.
these friendships? Um,
It's
for
in
me,
St. Paul.
oh, it's close. I'll be in
It's
St. Paul
close.
tomorrow. Do you want me to pick it up for you?
It's okay.
Okay. Um, I'm kind of like, I feel like my friendship story is that I am always sort of an outsider. Like I kind of am a unique person. And like growing up, there were all boys in my neighborhood and I was the only girl. And I played with all the boys, but I wasn't like totally a tomboy. I was kind of like a girly tomboy, you know what I mean? So like they were my buds, but I had my best friend that is still my best friend to this day, although according to this book, she's one of my best friends. But you know who I would say like my BFF, my bestie for life. Her mom babysat me when I was
Hmm.
3 months old and my mom had to go back to school. So we've been friends for 41 years and we're
Jeez.
still really close. And I would honestly say just by the grace of God, because I'm not really still friends with anyone from high school because I could not have gotten out of that town faster. Like I wasn't really in any group in high school because I played all the sports, but I was also in all the smart classes, but I wasn't like a nerd. I mean, maybe I was a nerd, but I was like a cool nerd that played sports, and I did theater and I did, this, but I also wanted to get out of Oosburg as much as possible. So I was kind of just like a floater. Like I never felt like the middle of a group. Like I was always kind of like a floater, always on the outside. And my
Yeah.
best friend went to school with me, but she was in class a year older. So she had her own friend groups in her class. And we didn't really like talk to each other at school that much. She was with her class, I was with mine, and she didn't play any sports. So we had like very different lives. And then in college, I played sports. I played rowing. And my teammates were my best friends, my roommates, like in multiple different house situations with like anywhere from like 2 to like 10 roommates who were always rowers or like rowers adjacent. And I'm still very close to a lot of them, but not like one particular one that I would be like, this is my best friend. Do you know what I mean? It was more like it was a big team. It's not like a basketball team where there's like 12 people. It was like 30 people on our team and about 10 people in each class. And so there's a few of them that I keep in touch with, and just like a lot of love there. And one lives in the Twin Cities, I think. One who I'm close with lives in the Twin Cities.
Sweet.
And so that's really nice. We just had our reunion and everybody like swore up and down we're going to keep in touch better and plan another one and stuff like that. But so that is kind of, it was a great time for me, like a great time of life. And then they all kind of moved away from Madison and I stayed and I worked for a few years and then I went to law school. And I did not have that many friends in law school. I had a lot of like, I would say acquaintances, but like you were one of my closest friends because we were in a small group together, but I had a serious boyfriend who's I'm not going to say horrible human being, but Bonnie probably
I
would say
will.
horrible human. He who will not be named. But I spent most of my time with him because he was also in law school. And then I became really close with Nico after the first year when we went to Thailand and did our internships together. And so I spent like all of law school, even though I was very friendly with a lot of people. And I think there are just so many amazing people that were in our class and the classes above and below us. And I was really involved in like mock trial and international arbitration and journal and stuff. But I spent 90% of my time with those two people who are both essentially dead to me. Like Nico literally died, and he who will not be named, like I don't, so kind of took away all those shared memories. And that's hard, because we did have really great people in our law school class. And I'm so glad that friends with you and Nadia, who I like still haven't seen in a year, and like Katrina and I were both in New York together. But when I moved to New York, I had a great group of friends too, because I rowed again. And I connected with all these adults who were on this rowing team, and a lot of them were transplants. And we became friends who hung out outside of rowing. Which this book sort of talks about moving, like the first circle of friendship is you have like one thing in common, like you're on a team together, or you're the daycare drop off, or you work together. But then when you hang out outside of that one thing and you start sharing more personal things, so people I was friends with who rode, we also volunteered because the organization we rode with was primarily for at-risk youth and for adults and kids with disabilities. And so a group of us would row in the morning on Saturday and then go and volunteer all Saturday with the adaptive team and then go back to Brooklyn and drink beer together. And
Nice.
amazing. We had like we planned our own banquets. Like we just had so much fun together. And it was just this like wonderful, wholesome group of like men and women who like I still keep in touch with some of them and just have like really fond memories of the rest of them. And then I moved to Minnesota and I feel like that all came to a screeching halt. Like I joined the rowing team because I was like, I'll make all these great friends. And the women on the team were not very not friendly. They're
Bummer.
all kind of cliquey. They kind of like liked me because I was good, but as long as I wasn't better than they were and took like their spot, so it was kind of like semi-welcoming. At my law firm, everyone just kind of like bonded over happy hour and how much they hated their jobs and their lives. And I was like, I'm going rowing, you know.
Oh,
And then I started North Star and I spent a lot of time on that with those kids and some of the volunteers, but they're all sort of like passed through my life.
yeah.
So I have a few good friends here in Minnesota, but they're all from different things, like different groups. So every time I try to do something, I have like one friend from this group and one friend from that group, and they don't really know each other, even though they've met. Like when I've invited them to mutual things, it's not like enough to come together as like a group of friends. So I feel like what I would really love right now is a friend group that's local, because I do have my like few girlfriends from college who like I mentioned, we have that group chat and then we have calls every once in a while. And so I want to sort of like reconnect with, so number one, I want to like reconnect with people that I have these deep bonds with, but not that consistent. So like our group of girlfriends from law school, like really planning those lunches that we talk about. This group of girlfriends from college, like planning those phone dates because we're like spread out across like coast to coast across the whole country. And then I don't know, because I've lived so many places, like I want to keep going back to New York. Like when Fred and I went, I saw some of like my best friends and it was really
Nice.
including Caroline, who actually I wasn't friends with when I lived in New York, but she lives there. And so we got to see her. So that was really nice. But I would, so sort of like reconnecting and strengthening those friendships, but also building more local friendships. And I feel like I have a lot of people who are like on the verge of that, but like people I liked at both of my law firms, but like once I left, we didn't really keep in touch. And like women I've met through like networking or other things where there's definitely like potential to be great friends, but it just takes time and consistency and stuff like that. And then the third thing I would really like to build up is like couple friends. My parents have no couple friends, and I see other people that have that, and I'm like, oh, that's a really fun life. That's like really nice. And everyone loves Fred who meets him, so I don't think it's going to be hard. It's just a matter of like kind of putting the time in and being intentional about it. So yeah, that's what I think I need in terms of friends.
I think I've always been an outsider too. Now that you
I think you have. I think I think we are very similar. Like, first of all, being smart but very athletic, like you're already divided.
Yeah.
Right. And then kind of not caring that much. You're like, I'm gonna do what I want.
Yeah, no, it's true. Like I mean, yeah, it's good and bad, right? Because you have friends in all sorts of groups.
Yeah. Until the other people are having their like annual ski trip and they don't invite you because you weren't like
Right. You're
group,
not quite in, but you're yeah.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it was in college. Yeah, basically everything. But that's okay. I was also what you were talking about, I was also thinking about the last time that I said, we're gonna be friends. I'm gonna make this happen. I literally said that. I mean, some version of that is when I started working for Nichols Caster, the big law firm I used to work for. And he was a clerk. And I was like, we're gonna be friends. And I was thinking about it, like, that'd be really hard for me to do now. Because we would like go, yeah, for beers after work, we'd play tennis, we'd spend all this time together, and we could do so at kind of our whim.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about how, I mean, I'm really good at when I say I'm going to do something doing it. But yeah, when it comes to the consistency part of it, I think there are barriers built in, and that's why it's obviously that's why it's hard to make friends at this stage of life. That's why.
It's hard. Well, I guess, and I should say, I should probably have written these down, but I guess I'm recording it. But another, maybe this is number 4, is I would love to have some friends who have kids like the same stage as me. And that's, most of my friends have teenagers or high schoolers, you know?
I feel like that's a good next friend group too. Yeah, for me.
I already, when we went to the big backyard indoor playground, I saw like one of the moms whose kid, now I know his name, Xavier, is in Vivian's class at daycare, and they were at the big backyard, and we always like smile and say hi to each other at the school, and we talk to each other there. And I was like, look at me being friendly.
Well on my way. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
But my boss, who has a son the same age and a son this like 2 kids the same age, she has like these mama groups that she like paid to be a part of when her kids were born through Luma, I think. But anyway, I was like, I would go back and pay money to do something like that, just because they do stuff like, now that the kids are a little old enough, they're like go out, like the mamas group goes out and stuff.
That's so nice.
Yeah, because when Vivian was born, I went to the lactation cafe at the hospital. That was like a drop-in group to talk about breastfeeding. And it was awesome. I am not friends with any of those women at this point, but to see friendly, familiar faces every week and be able to like have babies the same age and like ask questions or share what's going on. And it was like facilitated by 2 nurses. So it was very helpful, but it was great, but it wasn't like a lasting thing. It was just like, come in if you're breastfeeding and have questions or want support.
Cool.
And and 5th thing I want, and you didn't mention this either, I'm curious. I want to have neighbor friends.
Yes.
I really want to have neighbor friends, and I need my mom to come because she gardens outside and then stops and talks with everyone that she sees. And then she's like, Annie, come meet your neighbor.
Yeah.
But I know there's kids in this neighborhood. I know there's like, you know, already I have one neighbor's phone number. And when Vivian and I were coming back from Florida, I texted her when Snowmageddon came and her son came and shoveled so that we could pull in the driveway. And I was like, oh, this is what I grew up knowing every single neighbor in our whole entire neighborhood and their kids and their cousins, you know, and I want that for Vivian and Freddie and for myself too.
Yeah. Same. No, I do have a name. Yeah, when I talk about community ties, definitely neighbors is sort of front of mind. I did recruit one of my neighbors to play my basketball team, so he and I are getting some quality time together. But I really, my real target is his wife, so got to get her to come.
Awesome. I love it.
Oh yeah, same though.
I love it. Okay. Well, that's everything I wanted to talk about tonight. And I hope your book comes soon. It's really great. I'm excited for everyone to read it and talk about it. So that is kind of the homework for next time, is read the book, obviously, but as you're doing it, do the homework or like the exercise of like the friend inventory in these different categories. So you can really see where you need to make more friends. And then we're going to talk about like how we're going to be more intentional about connecting with our girlfriends, old and new, next time when we do our book club. Oh,
Awesome.
that's another thing I wanted to say. It's also a little weird being married because I've always had a lot of guy friends, like platonic male friends.
Same.
And I'm just like, it's a little weird now because I'm like, I don't know, I'm like married, like not like anything happened, but like I don't really feel like being like, hey, Fred, I'm going out. I don't know. It's just a little, gives me a little pause.
And there are fewer opportunities too, as well, I feel like. But
Yeah.
I'm with you. I used to hang out with mostly guys.
Yeah. Like at my last law firm, like my friend Martha, she and I have like traversed all the friend circles. I would put her in the BFF circle. Like she is like a solid gold friend at this point, but our offices were right next to each other. But then my next two best buddies at my law firm were Reed and Matt. And I, would just pop in each other's office and sit there for like 5-10 minutes and chat every day.
Mhm.
And it's just so different to be like,
Right.
let's go get coffee when I live in the suburbs and you live in the suburbs and we all work remotely. No.
It's hard.
Yeah.
But we shall make progress this year.
We will. We will never feel lonely and we will have sweatpants friends near and far.
So yeah, the geographic issue is a hard one too. It's like,
Yeah.
I always talk about this concept. I don't know when I started, like really young, about this concept of my dream is to like live in a cul-de-sac with all my favorite people who I want to live next to. So it'll be
My
me.
my college roommates, I mean, count me in for that for sure. I
Yeah.
think there's a reason people have such great experiences in college, and one of them is that they're living in very close community and making all kind of new friends.
Mhm.
And also walking a lot and also learning new things. Like there's so much about that time that's really great. And like college roommates and I always said we watched Golden Girls all the time. It was like our show. And we always said like, when we hit that age, we were all just gonna like reunite and live like Golden Girls.
Awesome.
Yeah, but count me into the cul-de-sac for sure.
Oh, so good. Such a fun idea.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, we're designed to live in community with other humans and especially women. And when we don't have that, we just feel like disconnected and like something's off. And but our world is disconnected, right? Like we move,
Totally.
we live far away, we spend so much time in the car, and there's a lot of great things about technology and all the developments that we have, but we just have to make sure like we make them work for us.
Right.
Yeah. Okay,
Totally.
on that deep thought, I think I'm gonna stop recording.
And
Unless there's anything
on a
else you
deep
want to
note.
share?
What? No. So you're ending on a deep note?
Yeah, on that deep note, I'm gonna stop recording. Bye.